Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the NECA Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Koba. This incredible action figure is recommended for ages 14 and up and comes to us from the folks over at NECA Toys. Koba does come included with a spear, a little more detailed of a spear that was than what was featured with Caesar. Also, it looks like he comes with an alternate hand. Also, the same package featured from Caesar is also carried over to Koba here. It's really phenomenal artwork as a whole. On the back of the package, collect all three figures. There's Caesar, Koba, and Maurice. Again, these are all, well, at least the two figures here, Caesar and Koba, are all adorning the war paint that they are sporting in the movie. But I would have really loved to have seen both Koba and Caesar be given a regular variant as well, where we could have actually seen this phenomenal detailing without the war paint. I love the war paint, but I would have also loved to have seen it without it as well. For everything, not only Planet of the Apes wise, but certainly the other licensed properties that NECA is producing, you can head over to www.necaonline.com. Spot's going to take a break, get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at Koba. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Like Caesar, Koba does come with two pieces that you can put together, and you get yourself a really long, let me just actually get the two pieces connected, you get yourself an extremely long spear. And whereas Caesar's spear was considerably long, in fact, let's reach off camera and grab it, where Caesar's spear was long, Koba's is longer even still, which really, again, like towers over the sheer height of Koba. I mean, the spear itself is almost twice as high as Koba. So I can see clearly, like this one right here, for example, this spear, I can clearly see why you would have to put it together. If not, the packaging would be considerably long. Also, in the same vein as Caesar, Koba does come with two alternate hands, both of them closed or more closed-fisted, ideal for holding the spear. To change out his hands is exactly the same way. It's a very easy to remove peg. Just kind of wiggle it once again as you're pulling it off, and that will allow you to prevent any damage when pulling out limbs. You have a very strong ball joint, but again, some caution should always be considered when putting in and removing additional arms or additional hands. So again, you just want to wiggle it, pop it back into the socket. Now, really liked Caesar, but I mean, there's a lot going on here with Koba. A very terrifying, it was certainly a much scarier chimpanzee, not only in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but as we have been seeing, at least what I've been seeing in footage from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. You know, he's a much scarier chimpanzee, but there's definitely a lot more to him than you know what you're seeing at face value. I mean, Koba has gone through a lot, both not only in the testing, you know, that he had to undergo, the scars, you know, the partial blindness to him as well. I mean, he sadly, you can understand clearly why a chimp like this would not have trust for mankind. And while there is, you know, possibly a naiveness to Caesar for, you know, a coexistence between apes and mankind, Caesar being right here, you can really see where Koba would come from, having a very lack of trust for mankind. But the sculpt and paint is phenomenal on both these pieces. And while I like Caesar, and Caesar just blew me away with sculpt and paint, there's a real pain that you can see NECA conveyed in the face of Koba. It's just the first, like, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I found was a fantastic movie. But, you know, as a testament to the CG artists out there, they really conveyed a sense of pain and anger in the ape's face. And Koba, I mean, really represented the distrust towards mankind. And NECA furthermore sculpted this piece and did it absolute justice. I mean, the age in the face, he's definitely a lot of a much older, more veteran ape than that of Caesar. You can see where his ears mangled, and above and beyond that, he still has the war paint that Caesar has. A little more predominant, I think, in the face area there. By deliberate attempt, but he has more of a skeletal kind of paint makeup, a lot more white in the face than that of Caesar. He also has the kind of makeshift, almost looks like a rib cage paint in the chest area there. And he's got a very mild amount of the additional white on the hands and the arms, unlike what Caesar had. On the back, you know, is where you can really see, you know, the sheer abuse that this poor chimpanzee would have undergone with his testing. You know, those shaved areas, you know, the areas where he would have been probably injected with a shot, where he would have had stuff put onto his fur, you know, to test products and other research experiments that they had planned for him. All of that conveyed perfectly in the sculpt that NECA has added to. I mean, really, and looking at this Spot clearly knows that this is a plastic figure. But I mean, really, like, looking at Koba, you really see, you know, the punishment and abuse this poor chimpanzee underwent, and you can really see why he would have had zero trust for mankind. And as a testament to NECA, all of that conveyed perfectly in this sculpt. In the way of his articulation, he does have the ball joint. Though, unfortunately, like his head, because the sculpt of the back of his hair is so close to the back of his neck, you can't move it too much backwards. However, you can still move his head forward, and you can do the full rotation if you so wish. Koba does have the pin and socket rotations in the arms. You can bring the arms further out, but you do have to be a little careful just because there is a lot of friction getting the arms really further past, say, that point there. Arms move forward and back. He does have a bend and rotation in the forearm, a nice ball joint in the hand, quite a bit of movement actually in the hand. He has the same ball joint crunch as Caesar, and in fact, actually, I feel as if the crunch in Koba is a little easier to move than that of Caesar, but you know, quite a bit of movement there. His legs also move out, forward and back, and really, I guess, similar to the NECA Gremlins line, the Gremlins line of figures, their lower legs, you couldn't really do a lot, at least in the leg socket to lower torso area. And with the apes, it's kind of the same idea. You can't get a lot of movement, but at the sacrifice of what we're getting as a sculpt here, I'm more than fine to, you know, I'm not bothered by the fact that he can't do a walking stance. I mean, we're not really going to be posing Koba, or really for that matter, you're not going to be posing any of the apes in that pose anyways, that it really makes no sense, and it doesn't bother me that you can't get a lot of movement here. He does have the hinge socket in the knees, a little more restricted, but you can still bend the knee back and rotate the leg. And lastly, you can rotate the feet via the ball joint in the foot socket there. Koba is a sight to be seen, and you know what, for as much as Spot loved Caesar, and once again, let's bring him in there, as much as I loved Caesar, Koba really shows the, I guess, the emotion that a sculpted toy can provoke. And really, I understand, again, it's just a plastic piece, but you really gotta tip your hat to the fantastic sculpt that NECA put in this piece. It really shows the pain and suffering that this poor creature went through, and therefore his hatred for mankind. Koba, I'm going to give you a 9.5. Fantastic work, and fantastic work to NECA for producing these pieces. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the NECA Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Koba. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have one more review heading your way from the new Dawn of the Planet of the Apes figures, and that, of course, would be Maurice. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.